Yes, thank you for having me. I think that we have had a very productive week. As you will appreciate, the continent is moving towards its own self-definition. In order to do that, you need, among other things, critically so, you need evidence. You need to have your own research. You need to have your own understanding, your own organic understanding of your challenges. The Africa Governance Seminar Series does just that. It brings to the continent the understanding from the continent. We have so many perspectives from all over the world about what is going on in Africa, what needs to be done in Africa. And this seminar series looks at the entire spectrum. It looks at what we do in terms of governance, or what the status is in terms of governance and what we should do in terms of governance. The four thematic areas that everybody has been speaking about: the democracy and political governance, economic governance and management, corporate governance, and socio-economic development policy. We receive papers in this seminar in all these areas from the understanding of African academics and practitioners. So during the week, or in the course of the week rather, we have had about 16 to 20 papers that were submitted. Some were from practitioners, giving us their perspectives in terms of what is actually happening in practice. Others were from academics, completed papers. Others were ongoing research from students. And there was an exchange about the different perspectives as we see them here on the continent. What is key about AGoSS is the interface between the practitioners and the academics. Essentially so. We need to have refined research inform the policy on the continent, inform the choices we make in terms of governance, systems, processes, and so on. So it has been a very productive week. Just to give you a sense, we have had, I think, participation from over 23 countries, members of the African Union. The actual entire meeting was about 40 participants, all of whom are people who have some level of accomplishment within their own discipline. The whole idea, or rather the main goal of holding this seminar series, is to actually have the complex science behind the issues interrogated by experts and analyzed and processed for use by policymakers. So our primary audience is policymakers. So for AGoSS in particular, the objective is really not to get the information out to the public. The objective is to get the information to the policymakers. They need to make informed choices. And they also need to challenge what is being given out or what is being taught in university by the academia. Because there's a lot of theory in the academia. There are a lot of conclusions in the academia that may not reconcile with the realities on the ground. So this is the two-way traffic we are looking at when it comes to AGoSS. Ultimately, when these decisions and choices have been made, there are platforms in which we disseminate the policies, we disseminate the systems that we would work with, and the whole spectrum of what is involved in either the running of the state government, public institutions, public life, and so on. There are various platforms that are used. But what is important to highlight is that AGoSS looks at the science and it has its complexities behind the choices we make. So the simple process we undertake is that after the seminar, we have the papers edited. And these papers are edited, of course, for content, and they're repackaged into policy briefs, discussion papers, policy insights. And these are the products that, or rather the documents that we share with our policy community within the African Union and within the governments that we work with. So that is the primary means with which we get this information to the primary audience, who is our policymakers. They would then, of course, share this with other relevant actors. But remember, we have so many products within the African Union. We have the Africa Governance Report. We have the Africa Governance Atlas coming up. We have country review reports. And all these reports are targeted and are made available to the public. But the seminar series was established to make sure that the attention that is needed the detailed attention, the disciplined attention that is needed to examine and interrogate the issues that help our policymakers make the choices they need to make, that is undertaken. Future plans is we hold these seminars annually, and we are increasingly looking at ways in which we can improve them, both in terms of participation. This just ended seminar emphasized that we need to have a lot more youth involvement, which means that the way we actually organize them will need to change. We need to use mass media to invite and to interact with the youth. We also agreed in this meeting that we should look at the themes a little differently. We should be looking at the next themes. We should be looking at what is coming out from the country reviews, what's coming out from the other work that we do. That should guide the themes, because the way we have arrived at the themes previously is we have just looked at the broad areas of work in which we work within the APRM and looked at the developments globally and then determined the themes. But what the seminar has suggested, this particular seminar, is that we should derive our themes from the actual challenges that we are presented with from the various work that we do.